I dug this up in the yard of a 1900s house in Maine. It is a heavy bronze box, weighing about 6 pounds. It measures 7 by 5 by 8 inches and appears handmade with no specific markings. Does anyone know what it is? This appears to be a vintage bronze casting flask. In foundry work, a flask is a container used to hold the sand mold in which metal is cast. Given the location in Maine and the age of the house, it likely originated from a local shipyard or workshop. The heavy bronze construction prevents the box from warping under the intense heat of molten metal, ensuring accurate castings for machine parts or maritime hardware. I found a strange briefcase that folds open to reveal a mirror on the inside and a rubber backside. The rubber is stretchy and somewhat see-through. It feels handmade but high quality, and I suspect it has something to do with photography. Does anyone know what it is? It is a portable rear projection screen device. Specifically, this is a vintage projection screen mirror reflector. In the mid-20th century, salesmen or educators used these to display slides or film strips in small rooms without needing a large wall screen. The projector beams the image onto the mirror, which reflects it onto the translucent rubber screen, allowing the audience to view the image clearly from the other side of the case. I spotted this old folding desk in my professor's office. It looks like a standard piece of wooden furniture, but the top seems to have hinges and a split down the middle. Does anyone know what it is? It is a convertible sewing machine cabinet. These were a staple in households from the late 19th to the mid-20th century, often manufactured by the Singer Company. The design, known as a drop-head cabinet, allows the heavy iron sewing machine to fold down into the body of the desk when not in use. This protected the mechanical parts from dust and transformed the unit into a functional flat table, maximizing space in smaller homes. What is this massive round object hidden under a tarp? It was being transported on an angle, taking up 2 full lanes on Interstate 95 near the South Carolina and Georgia border. It looks incredibly heavy. Does anyone know what it is? It is a marine screw, commonly known as a ship propeller. These massive bronze or steel components are often cast in a single piece and can weigh over 100 tons. They are transported at a steep angle on low-loader trucks to reduce the overall width of the load, allowing them to pass under bridges and fit within highway lanes while being delivered to shipyards for installation on cargo vessels. I bought a vintage coat dress from a store in the northeastern United States, likely from the 1960s or 70s. When I opened the seams to alter it, I found this mysterious brown powder sewn throughout the entire garment. Does anyone know what it is? What you are seeing is the remains of polyurethane foam padding. In the mid-20th century, designers used thin sheets of foam to give coats structure and warmth. Over decades, the chemical bonds in the foam break down through a process called oxidation or hydrolysis, causing the material to dry rot and crumble into the fine dust-like powder you discovered. What is this spinning metal holder? It features 6 holes with vertical posts, and the top has a cork insert. It was found near a chemical wallet, which makes the context confusing. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage thread spool holder, also known as a sewing caddy. The vertical posts are designed to hold spools of sewing thread, while the cork insert in the center functions as a pin cushion for needles. These were common household accessories in the mid-20th century to keep sewing supplies organized. The chemical wallet mentioned is unrelated clutter, as this is purely a textile tool. I found these strange aluminum-wrapped papers underwater in the inner city of Stockholm. Inside, there is rice and a terrible smell. The text includes the word whatisthisthing and mentions Angel Michael. Does anyone know what it is? This is a ritual offering from a spiritual group known as Chas 2413. The text whatisthisthing translates to "they left us" in Swahili. The group was founded by a man named Chas, who claimed to be initiated by Angel Michael in Indonesia in 1983. The packet contains specific written codes and names intended to be burned to remove negativity or illness. Finding it unburned underwater suggests the ritual was discarded or interrupted. I found this iron tool in an old toolbox. It is L-shaped with a hexagon shape on one end and a square shape on the other. It was made in Taiwan and has a maker's mark I have never seen. Does anyone know what it is? It is a valve seat wrench, a specialized plumbing tool. It is designed to remove or tighten the valve seat inside a faucet, which is the brass ring that the washer presses against to stop water flow. Because valve seats come in square or hexagonal shapes depending on the manufacturer, this tool features both heads to accommodate different fixtures during repair. I found this at work today. It was left behind by the overnight employee. It is a solid object with no openings, made of hollow glass with gold trim on one end. I am worried it might be drug-related. Does anyone know what it is? You do not need to worry. This is a glass syringe plunger. Specifically, it is the inner piston component of an old-fashioned or reusable medical syringe. The gold trim likely indicates a specific brand or calibration style. While it is medical equipment, the plunger itself is just a piece of glass used to push a liquid through the barrel. Souse. What is this black plastic object? It measures about 2 feet long and has a hinge that allows it to open. There are no serial numbers or writing, but it has a keyed rectangular piece on the back. Does anyone know what it is? It is a clamp for a flip chart easel. This plastic bar snaps onto the top of a presentation stand to hold large pads of paper in place. The rectangular key on the back attaches to the frame of the easel, and the hinged front clamps down to secure the paper pad, allowing pages to be flipped over during meetings or presentations. I found this large, thick glass plate, and I am trying to figure out its purpose. It reminds me of tools used in 1950s refrigeration, soldering, or drafting. Does anyone know what it is? It is a lapping plate. Specifically, this glass slab was likely used for maintenance on ammonia refrigeration systems. Lapping is a machining process where two surfaces are rubbed together with an abrasive between them to create an incredibly flat surface. While modern workshops often use granite surface plates, thick glass was commonly used to flatten compressor seals and valves during repair work. I noticed this strange hole on the burner of an industrial stove. It looks adjustable, but I'm not sure what purpose it serves or if it is missing a piece. Does anyone know what it is? It is an air mixing valve, often called an air shutter. This mechanical component regulates the ratio of oxygen to gas before combustion. By rotating the shutter, you control the airflow to achieve a crisp blue flame, which indicates complete combustion. If the hole is closed too much, the flame turns orange and deposits soot on cookware due to inefficient burning. I found this on the road next to a sidewalk. It looks like a crushed piece of copper pipe, and it is marked with the letters SA inside a circle. Does anyone know what it is? It is a copper press coupling, specifically a plumbing fitting used to join pipes without heat. Unlike traditional fittings that require soldering with a torch, this system uses a heavy-duty hydraulic tool to mechanically crimp the metal around the pipe. The O-ring inside creates a watertight seal instantly, making it a favorite for modern plumbers working in spaces where open flames are a safety hazard. I saw loads of boats with these large paddle-shaped objects attached to the sides. They look like giant oars, but they are positioned oddly and seem fixed in place. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a leeboard. It functions as a pivoting keel for sailboats that need to navigate shallow waters. Unlike a fixed center keel which runs deep under the hull, leeboards are mounted on the exterior sides and can be raised or lowered. When the wind pushes the boat sideways, the leeboard acts as a hydrofoil to resist that lateral force, keeping the vessel moving forward. They are commonly seen on Dutch barges and flat-bottomed vessels where a deep keel would run aground. What is this cat-shaped object made of solid brass? It looks somewhat like a door knocker, but it stands on a desk and has a strange gap near the paws. Does anyone know what it is? It's a vintage pipe holder. These decorative brass figures were common desk accessories in the mid-20th century. The specific shape is designed to cradle a tobacco pipe. The stem rests in the gap between the cat's paws while the bowl sits securely on the base, preventing hot ash from spilling onto the table. I found this in my room from years ago. It is about 4 inches long and I think it might be some sort of craft tool, but I cannot remember what it does. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as the tie knot. It is a specialized tool designed to fill and tie water balloons quickly. You attach the threaded end to a garden hose, fill the balloon, and then use the plastic arm to loop and knot the neck of the balloon in one smooth motion. It was popularized as a summer toy accessory to eliminate the finger strain of tying hundreds of water balloons. What is this long metal object? It is about the size of my forearm and consists of two metal rods with a small gap between them. It looks like a tool, but I am not sure what it applies to. Does anyone know what it is? It is a large, low-frequency tuning fork. Unlike the small forks used by musicians, these large forks are often used in physics classrooms to demonstrate resonance and sound waves. When struck, the two prongs vibrate at a specific pitch. Because of its large size, you can actually see the vibrations, making it perfect for visualizing how sound energy travels through the air. I saw this while walking in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It looks like a ball of tinfoil wrapped around a tree branch with some plastic visible underneath it. Does anyone know what it is? This is a horticultural technique known as air layering. Gardeners peel back a section of bark and wrap it in moist moss, plastic, and foil to trick the branch into growing roots while still attached to the parent tree. Once roots form inside that foil ball, the branch can be cut off and planted as a genetically identical clone of the original tree. I found this strange plastic object in a bag filled with old hair products. It has a curved shape and teeth like a comb, but I can't figure out how you would actually wear it. Does anyone know what it is? It is a styling tool designed specifically for creating a French twist. This hair accessory acts as a structural base or anchor. You roll your hair around the plastic curve and pin it in place, allowing the comb-like teeth to grip the hair and maintain the classic vertical roll shape without needing dozens of bobby pins. I received this carnelian carving in a random crystal scoop, and I cannot figure out what the shape is supposed to be. It is about 2 inches long and curves in a specific way. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as an ear hanger or taper. It is a piece of jewelry designed for people with stretched earlobe piercings. The hook shape allows it to hang securely through a gauged earlobe, using the weight of the stone to keep it in place. Carnelian is a popular choice for these organic body jewelry pieces due to its hardness and vibrant color. I opened a box of crackers and found these strange fibrous strands embedded in the food. They look like threads coming right out of the cracker dough. It looks like a serious manufacturing error. Does anyone know what it is? That is contamination from the manufacturing line. Specifically, those are frayed fibers from the industrial conveyor belts that transport the dough through the sheeting process. These belts are often made of heavy woven fabrics that can deteriorate due to friction. You should contact the manufacturer immediately with the lot codes, as this indicates a failure in their quality control sensors. What is the name of these specific black and red audio sockets? They look somewhat like standard banana plugs, but the internal connection looks different and more shielded. Does anyone know what it is? It is a BFA connector, often referred to as a CamCon-style plug. These were developed by the British Federation of Audio to comply with specific European safety regulations. Standard 4mm banana plugs were banned in certain regions because they could accidentally fit into European mains power sockets, causing a shock hazard. The BFA connector uses an insulated sleeve and a hollow pin to prevent this danger while maintaining high-quality audio transmission for amplifiers and speakers. I was looking at satellite maps of the Idaho desert and found these strange triangles arranged on the ground. They form a distinct pattern in the middle of nowhere. Does anyone know what it is? These are radar calibration targets, specifically trihedral radar reflectors. They are geometrically designed with 3 flat surfaces meeting at right angles, similar to the corner of a cube. This shape reflects radio waves directly back to the source, regardless of the angle of arrival. The military and aviation authorities use these grids to calibrate radar systems on aircraft and satellites, ensuring their imaging equipment measures distance and size accurately. I spotted this strange room while visiting a health and wellness resort. It is filled with rows of sinks, but they are positioned strangely and do not look like standard bathroom fixtures. Does anyone know what it is? This is a facility designed for Kriyas, specifically a purification ritual rooted in Ayurveda. These sinks are used for jal neti, or nasal irrigation. In this practice, which dates back centuries in Indian tradition, individuals use a pot to pour saline solution through the nasal passages to cleanse them. The specialized sink design allows practitioners to lean over comfortably during the process. I just purchased a new house and went down to check the wine cellar in the basement. I found this white, fuzzy substance covering the brick walls. I am worried it might be toxic mold. Does anyone know what it is? What you are looking at is efflorescence. It is a crystalline deposit of salts that forms on the surface of masonry, stucco, or concrete. When water infiltrates the porous wall, it dissolves internal salts and carries them to the surface. As the water evaporates, it leaves this white, chalky residue behind. It is not a fungus or mold, but it does indicate you have a moisture issue in your foundation. I found a device part labeled bit holder 45985. It has a yellow knob on one side and a cylinder on the back with metal wires sticking out of it. It looks mechanical, but I cannot figure out its purpose. Does anyone know what it is? This is a high-security seal or tag, likely used in retail or logistics. The metal wires act as a lanyard cable to loop through merchandise or shipping container latches. The body contains a locking mechanism that secures the wire, and the yellow knob is often part of a tensioning system. These devices require a specific magnetic detacher or key to release the tension and unlock the item. While landscaping my garden, I dug up this strange blue material under the soil. It looks synthetic and was buried beneath some slate and bricks. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a waterproofing membrane, often called a tanking membrane. Builders use this material under tiles in bathrooms or wet areas to prevent water penetration. Finding it in a garden suggests it might have been used as a heavy-duty weed barrier or a liner for a previous water feature that was buried over time. I moved into a house that had been empty for 3 years and found this attached to the wall. It looks like some kind of plastic fitting, but the previous owners didn't leave a note explaining it. Does anyone know what it is? Without specific serial numbers, this object is best identified as an orphaned mounting bracket. In vacant homes, sellers often remove expensive items like wall-mounted televisions, vacuum charging stations, or water filtration systems, leaving the specific mounting hardware behind. Since the main unit is gone, the bracket becomes a mystery component that serves no function on its own. I was cleaning out the attic when I found this silver-plated object. It looks a lot like a double boiler, but it has a strange wick mechanism underneath. It seems too fancy for a standard kitchen. Does anyone know what it is? This is a chafing dish. The name comes from the French word chauffer, meaning to make hot. Unlike a cooking pot, this is a portable grate and pan system used to keep food warm during a buffet service. The wick underneath burns a fuel like sterno or alcohol to maintain a gentle heat, preventing the food from overcooking while sitting out on the table. What is this unusual spanner with no visible markings? It has a V-shaped jaw with teeth on one side and a smooth edge on the other. Does anyone know what it is? It is called an alligator wrench. Popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this tool was a precursor to the modern pipe wrench. The V-shaped jaw with serrated teeth allows it to grip square or hexagonal nuts, as well as round pipes, in multiple sizes without needing adjustment. They were standard equipment for mechanics until adjustable crescent wrenches made them obsolete. I found this object while walking in the woods in the United Kingdom. It is made of white ceramic and has a length of wire wrapped tightly around the base. Does anyone know what it is? It is a ceramic insulator for overhead electrical lines. These were widely used on telegraph and power poles throughout the 20th century to prevent electric current from flowing into the wooden pole or the ground. The wire you see wrapped around the base is likely a tie wire used to secure the main conductor line into the groove of the insulator. Finding one in the woods often indicates where an old utility line once ran. I made some homemade hot sauce and put it in the fridge. After 2 weeks, these strange white clusters developed on the surface. I am worried it might be dangerous bacteria. Does anyone know what it is? It's likely just coagulated oil. If your recipe included olive oil or animal fats, the low temperature of the refrigerator caused the lipids to solidify and separate from the vinegar base. This is a physical reaction known as congealing, not a biological one like mold. As the sauce warms up to room temperature, the oil will melt back into liquid form. I found this little cylindrical item on the beach, and this is actually the second time I have seen one. It looks like a small plastic wheel with internal ridges. Does anyone know what it is? It is a piece of plastic biofilter media, often called a K1 Caldness media wheel. These are used in wastewater treatment plants and large industrial aquariums. The wheel shape provides a massive surface area for beneficial bacteria to colonize. These bacteria naturally break down ammonia and nitrites in the water. When sewage treatment plants overflow or malfunction, thousands of these wheels can unfortunately wash up on nearby beaches. I found this object in the trash years ago while living in France. It has a groove on the top, but the other sides are flat. I tried to open it but failed. Does anyone know what it is? It is a removable electric rotisserie motor. This device is designed to mount onto the side of a barbecue grill or oven. The groove sits on a bracket, and a spit rod inserts into the motor housing. Inside, a system of gears reduces the speed of the electric motor to turn a roasting turkey or chicken slowly and evenly. It is sealed in a metal case to protect the electrical components from grease and heat. This object is about 7.5 inches long and came in a leather case. It is marked Minox and made in Germany near the ball joint. The base unscrews into 3 sections. Does anyone know what it is? This is a vintage pocket tripod made by Minox, a German company famous for their sub-miniature spy cameras. The legs of this tripod are actually stored inside one another, telescoping out to form a stable base. It was designed in the 1950s to be extremely portable, allowing photographers to stabilize the tiny Minox cameras for clear shots without carrying bulky equipment. Collectors often call this the Minox pencil tripod. So, what is this tiny gold container meant to hold? It features a jeweled clasp but has no handles or places to attach a chain. It is far too small for credit cards or coins. Does anyone know what it is? This is a miniature purse designed as an accessory for high-end dolls. Often made of metal mesh or gold-tone brass, these tiny chatelaines or purses were popular accessories for French fashion dolls or bisque dolls in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It is not meant for human use, which explains the lack of standard attachment points for a necklace or belt. I was disassembling the plumbing under my sink and found this inside the U-bend trap. It looks like a decorative plastic or resin tube. Is it a part of the drainage system? Does anyone know what it is? It is definitely not a plumbing component. What you found is the handle of a makeup brush that fell down the drain. Over time, the water and soap dissolved the glue holding the bristles, washing them away and leaving only the decorative handle trapped in the P-trap. I came across this massive object in the Arizona desert. It looks like some sort of jet-propelled unmanned aircraft sitting on a mobile launching platform with tank tracks. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is an SM-62 Snark missile. Developed by Northrop in the 1950s, the Snark was an early intercontinental cruise missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. It was designed to launch from a mobile platform, fly autonomously using celestial navigation, and deliver its payload. This specific relic is missing its wings and warhead, leaving just the fuselage and the launcher rusting in the desert sun. What is this sturdy, large wire mesh tube? It looks like it might hold bottles or cups, but the shape is open on both ends and quite rigid. Does anyone know what it is? This object is a vertical poultry roaster, often called a beer can chicken stand. You place a whole chicken over the wire frame, which holds the bird upright during cooking. This orientation allows heat to circulate evenly around the meat for 360-degree roasting, while the open mesh structure often allows you to place a beverage can or flavor infuser inside the cavity to keep the meat moist. I spotted this device outside an office building and I cannot figure out its purpose. It looks like a cleaning station with microfiber pads, but the pads are facing outward rather than inward. It stands about waist height. Does anyone know what it is? It's a wet umbrella dryer. These devices are placed at building entrances during rainy weather to prevent slip hazards indoors. You insert a wet umbrella into the slot and move it back and forth against the microfiber pads to absorb excess water. However, looking at this specific unit, the pads appear to be installed inside out, or the unit is missing the external casing that usually pushes the pads against the umbrella fabric. I found this turquoise plastic object in the nursery. It looks like a lid for something, but I am not sure if it is a toy or a baby accessory. Does anyone know what it is? It is a lid for a silicone manual breast pump, specifically made by the brand Bumblebee. These pumps use suction to attach to the breast and collect milk passively. The lid is designed to keep the milk sterile and prevent spills after use. While it looks like a generic cap, the specific shape matches the Bumblebee silicone pump model exactly. What is this heavy metal object? It looks exactly like a standard railroad spike, but it has a shiny chrome finish. Is it some kind of award? Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a decorative chrome railroad spike. While functional spikes are made of raw steel, these plated versions are often given as retirement gifts for railway workers or sold as novelty paperweights. The tradition mimics the famous golden spike driven by Leland Stanford in 1869 to join the rails of the first transcontinental railroad across the United States. I spotted this massive three-legged tower at a beach construction site. It looks like a vehicle, but it is incredibly tall and sitting right in the surf. Does anyone know what it is? This machine is known as a crab, or Coastal Research Amphibious Buggy. It is a three-wheeled survey vehicle designed to drive along the seafloor in surf zones up to 30 feet deep. Originally developed by the Army Corps of Engineers, the crab uses GPS and high-precision instruments to map the ocean bottom and monitor beach erosion without getting knocked over by waves. I spotted this electrical outlet in my relative's house in Pennsylvania. It looks like a standard plug, but the slots are perpendicular to each other and much closer together than a normal wall socket. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a connection plate for a vintage whole-house antenna system. The top socket uses a Cinch-Jones connector wired with 300-ohm twin lead, designed to connect a television or radio to a roof-mounted antenna. The bottom connectors likely controlled an antenna rotator or distributed audio signals to speakers throughout the home, allowing residents to listen to a central record player or radio from different rooms. I was looking at a 120-year-old house in Georgia and noticed this detail on the screened porch. At the bottom of each screen section, there's a small hinged wooden flap. Does anyone know what it is? It is a sweep cleanout. Before modern vacuum cleaners, screened porches accumulated significant dust, pollen, and leaves. This hinged flap allows the homeowner to sweep debris directly off the floor and outside without opening the main door or damaging the screen mesh. It is a practical architectural feature common in historic southern homes designed for airflow. I see these metal pieces everywhere on bridges in the Midwest. It is a small section of fence that juts out horizontally from the main barrier, hanging over the edge. Does anyone know what it is? This is an anti-climb guard. Specifically, it is a safety feature installed on bridges to prevent people from maneuvering around the side of the fence. By creating a physical overhang, it makes it difficult for someone to bypass the barrier, serving as a critical deterrent against trespassing or suicide attempts on high structures. This is a small metal tool about 3 inches long found in a toolbox. It is stamped with K and D, patent May 12, 1903, and has fine measurements on the edge up to 1 inch. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a stick scale, manufactured by Kendrick and Davis, a prominent American toolmaker in the early 20th century. It was an essential precision instrument for watchmakers used to measure the height of balance staffs and other minute components within a mechanical watch movement. The patent date refers to May 12, 1903, marking an era when watch repair required manual fabrication of tiny parts. What is this massive piece of electrical equipment found dumped on the side of the road? It looks incredibly complex with various contacts, wires, and mechanical parts exposed to the elements. Does anyone know what it is? It is a large analog multi-circuit switch. These electromechanical devices were historically used in telecommunications or industrial control systems to route signals between different circuits. Unlike modern digital transistors, these rely on physical contacts moving to close connections, often capable of handling higher voltages or specific signal paths in older infrastructure. I found a long, skinny square steel rod. It measures about 30 inches long and just over 1/4 of an inch wide. It has 2 notches, a hole at one end, and comes to a point at the other. Does anyone know what it is? It is a rotisserie rod, likely for a Weber grill. The pointed end is designed to pierce meat, such as a chicken or roast. while the square shape prevents the food from slipping as the rod turns. The notches and hole are there to secure the rod into the grill's motor mechanism, allowing the food to cook evenly over the heat source. I was looking at a cow pasture on Google Earth and came across these strange green rings. One is about 7 meters across and the other is 3 meters. They look artificial compared to the surrounding field. Does anyone know what they are? These are livestock round pens used for sorting and doctoring cattle. The green color likely comes from the painted steel fence panels arranged around a center axis. This specific setup, often around 16 feet or 5 meters across, is designed to funnel animals into a chute for vaccinations or tagging, keeping them calm and contained during the process. I was metal detecting in a backyard and found these 3 items buried in separate locations. They are small metal plates with screw holes and a curved indentation. They seem to be made of brass or copper. Does anyone know what it is? What you found are vintage cabinet door latches, specifically the catch plate component. In older furniture hardware, a spring-loaded wheel mounted on the door would roll into this curved indentation to keep the cabinet closed via friction. These were standard fixtures in kitchens and pantries from the 1920s through the 1950s, before magnetic catches became the industry standard. I came across this large glass dish. It features a pouring spout on the side and a very distinct tall cone rising from the center. It looks like heavy-duty vintage glassware. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a Pyrex chicken roaster. Manufactured by Corning Glass Works, these were popular kitchen accessories in the mid-20th century. The central cone is designed to hold a whole chicken upright, allowing heat to circulate evenly around the bird while fats drain into the basin below. It is a classic example of borosilicate glassware designed for oven-to-table service. What is this metal tool that looks like a pair of scissors? Instead of cutting blades, it has clamps with small open tubes at the ends of both sides. Does anyone know what it is? What you found are piercing forceps, specifically designed for septum or ear piercings. The small tubes at the tips are slotted to clamp the skin securely in place, while allowing a needle to pass through the opening safely. This ensures the piercing is perfectly aligned and prevents the needle from slipping and causing injury during the procedure. They are a standard tool in professional body modification kits. What is this intimidating truck I saw on the road? It is covered in antennae, has a satellite dish, and features a 360-degree security camera on the back. It had U.S. government plates, and the drivers were in plain clothes. Does anyone know what it is? It is a unified command suite vehicle belonging to a National Guard civil support team. These units are federally funded but state-controlled, deployed specifically for disasters involving weapons of mass destruction or chemical incidents. The truck serves as a mobile communications hub, using its satellite array to bridge radio frequencies between police, fire, and federal agencies during a crisis. I found this small metal chain with a weighted metal cube attached to each end. The cubes have holes on the outer faces, but they do not seem to connect to anything else. Does anyone know what it is? Tell me, Nuss. It is a bagleri. This is a skill toy that originated in Greece, where it was traditionally made from rosary beads. The user holds the chain in their hand and flips the weighted ends around their fingers to perform tricks. While originally used as a worry bead for passing time, it has developed into a technical hobby similar to yo-yoing or pen spinning. I found this strange spoon inside a bartending set. It has a weird kink on the handle and a fork with prongs at the tip. It looks too complicated for just stirring a drink. Does anyone know what it is? This is a layering spoon, specifically designed for making multicolored cocktails like the Pousse Café. The attachment on the shaft helps slow down the pour, allowing liquids of different densities to float on top of one another without mixing. The fork tip is dual-purpose. It acts as a garnish spear to stab olives or cherries for the final presentation. I spotted this massive white industrial box on a flatbed trailer in the southern United States. It has 4 distinct hoppers on top and hatches on the bottom sides. It looks heavy-duty. Does anyone know what it is? It is a large commercial air conditioning unit, likely a rooftop model for a warehouse or shopping center. The structures that look like hoppers on top are actually exhaust fans or intake cowlings designed to protect the internal mechanics from weather while allowing airflow. These units are often prefabricated and shipped whole to construction sites for crane installation. I spotted this attached to the interior wall of a UPS delivery truck, right near the back door. It is about 3 feet tall and looks like a heavy-duty metal bracket. Does anyone know what it is? It is a storage bracket for a removable trailer hitch. UPS loaders use this to secure the heavy hitch assembly when it is not attached to the vehicle's bumper. The end with the hitch ball rests on the floor while the shaft slides into this bracket. A locking pin is inserted through the hole to keep the hitch upright and prevent it from sliding around the cargo bay during transit. I found this all-metal tool in a kitchen drawer. It has a curved guard and 2 screw-driven metal parts at the top that do not quite touch when closed, leaving a gap of about 1/16 of an inch. Does anyone know what it is? This object is a vintage nutcracker, specifically designed for pecans. Unlike lever-action crackers that can crush the meat, this screw-action design allows for precise pressure application. You place the nut between the threaded anvils and turn the handle. The curved guard acts as a shield to prevent shell fragments from flying across the room as the nut cracks open. This looks like a standard energy drink can, but there is a strange plastic apparatus on the top instead of a pull tab. It seems too bulky to be a normal lid. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a specialized water bottle disguised as a Red Bull can. These are promotional items often given exclusively to sponsored athletes. The top section is a drinking spout and cap mechanism. It is not a pressurized aluminum can, but a reusable plastic bottle designed to look like the product for marketing purposes during televised events. I found this weird cage thing next to a new fig tree in my backyard while watering the plants this morning. It looks like a small metal basket with a grid pattern. Does anyone know what it is? It is a sweet cage bird feeder. These specific wire mesh cages are designed to hold square blocks of sweet, which is rendered animal fat often mixed with seeds or grains. The grid size is large enough for clinging birds like woodpeckers and nuthatches to peck at the high-energy fat, but small enough to keep the block contained and off the ground. What is this outlet-like thing on my apartment wall? The building was constructed in the 1970s in the United States. The object makes a strange clicking noise in the evening that stops if I bridge the 2 posts. Does anyone know what it is? This is a vintage 300-ohm antenna wall plate. Before coaxial cables became the standard for cable television, buildings used flat twin-lead wires to connect individual units to a master antenna on the roof for TV and FM radio signals. The 2 screws are terminals where you would attach a matching transformer or a flat wire to your receiver. The clicking sound is likely static discharge or interference, picking up on the old, unshielded wiring system. I spotted this on an S-Bahn power line in Stuttgart, Germany. There are strange metal spikes arranged around the insulator plates. They look dangerous, but they are high up on the lines. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a Guthrie guard, or an electrostatic animal barrier. Its purpose is to prevent squirrels and birds from climbing over the insulators and causing short circuits. The spikes are electrically charged to deliver a non-lethal electrostatic shock, similar to a static zap from a doorknob, which scares the animal away before they can touch the high-voltage main conductor and cause a power outage. I found these 2 polythene bags inside a plastic cloth bag. It looks like some sort of camping equipment, but there are no poles or pumps included. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is an inflatable air lounger, often sold under brand names like Lamzac. Instead of using a pump, you fill the 2 internal chambers with air by opening the end and running against the wind or waving it in a circle. Once inflated, you roll the end tight and clip it shut, creating a buoyant sofa that can support a person on grass or even water. I found a very small headstone nearly entirely buried in a local cemetery. It stood alone and only has 1 letter on it. Could it be an unnamed child's headstone? Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a family plot corner marker. In traditional cemeteries, families would purchase a large square of land for multiple burials. Rather than marking a specific body, these small stones were placed at the 4 corners of the lot to define the property boundaries. The single letter engraved on top represents the initial of the family's surname. What is this tool with a 5-inch long wooden handle? The metal tip consists of 2 prongs standing apart from each other, and there is another metal piece sticking out the back. Does anyone know what it is? It's an oven rack push-pull tool. This safety device is designed to manipulate hot metal racks in an oven without the need for mitts. The notch between the front prongs hooks onto the rack to pull it out for inspection, while the flat extension on the back allows you to push the hot rack back inside safely. I found a pair of these hollow brass owls wearing hats at a charity shop in Cardiff. They have holes in the center and a larger opening in the back. Does anyone know what it is? Or, these are vintage thread holders, specifically designed to dispense cotton reels during sewing. You place a spool of thread inside the owl, and the thread feeds out through the hole in the beak or body. The slot in the back allowed them to be mounted onto a sewing machine or a work table. Novelty sewing accessories like these were very popular in the early 20th century to keep thread from tangling while adding decoration to the sewing room. What are these antique brass dragons? They are around 9 inches long and very heavy. They look like they are meant to attach to a wall, perhaps as drapery tiebacks or shelf brackets. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a suspension hook for a Victorian gas lamp or chandelier. These ornate brass dragons would be mounted high on a wall or ceiling beam. A chain would hang from the dragon's mouth to support a heavy gas light fixture. In the late 19th century, gas lighting fixtures were often elaborate and heavy, requiring sturdy, decorative hardware like this to secure them safely. I found this small plastic sensor-looking object on the dashboard of my work van. It has a wire running from it, but I am not sure what it connects to. Does anyone know what it is? It is a satellite radio or GPS antenna. These small puck-shaped receivers are often mounted on dashboards to get a clear line of sight to the sky through the windshield. They contain a ceramic patch antenna designed to receive high-frequency signals from satellites for navigation systems or services like Sirius XM. What is this strange vehicle being towed down the highway? It has windows on the side and back, plus a ventilation unit on the roof, but it looks incredibly small. Does anyone know what it is? That is a Little Guy MyPod travel trailer. It is an ultra-lightweight teardrop camper constructed from molded fiberglass, weighing only about 600 pounds. Designed to be towed by smaller vehicles like sedans or compact cars, the roof unit you noticed is an air conditioner, allowing for comfortable camping in a very compact footprint. This object is a double-forked rod, about 2.5 inches long. It is machined smooth all around, and the inside of the forks looks polished, possibly from rubbing against fabric. Does anyone know what it is? It is the internal sliding bar from a friction belt buckle. Specifically, this piece fits inside the metal frame of a web belt buckle. When the belt is threaded through, this rod slides forward to clamp the fabric against the frame, using friction to hold the belt tight without holes or prongs. The polishing you see is from years of the cotton web belt sliding against the metal. I spotted this small exposed electronic device on the floor outside a building in Manchester. It has a blue light emitting diode that flashes about once per second. It looks like raw circuitry without a case. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is the internal assembly of a disposable vape pen. When the plastic casing is broken or removed, you are left with the lithium-ion battery, a small heating element, and the airflow sensor. The flashing blue light usually indicates the battery is empty or the sensor is malfunctioning. These are becoming common forms of electronic litter in urban areas as the single-use devices are discarded. I found this set up on an inlet to a small lake in South Yorkshire, United Kingdom. There are strange poles suspended above the water, but they do not actually touch the surface. Does anyone know what it is? This is a slalom course for canoe or kayak training. The suspended poles are called gates. In competitive whitewater slalom, athletes must navigate their boats through these gates, green for downstream and red for upstream, without touching them. Since they hang above the water, they define the path without obstructing the flow or damaging the boats. What is this white box attached directly to the glass of my neighbor's window? It seems to be suction cupped or adhered to the inside pane, facing the street. Does anyone know what it is? It is a 5G home internet receiver, likely from a provider like Verizon. Unlike traditional cable internet that uses wires buried underground, 5G internet relies on cellular signals from nearby towers. Placing the receiver directly on the window minimizes obstruction from walls and insulation, ensuring the strongest possible connection speed for the home network. I found this metal card inside an old locker at a pharmaceutical facility. It has exposed contacts that look like a microchip, but the shape is unusual. Does anyone know what it is? It is a slim, credit card-style USB flash drive. The exposed contacts you see are part of a system in package, or SIP, design, where the memory and controller are integrated into a single water-resistant chip. The hinged or flip-out section allows it to plug directly into a standard USB port for data transfer, often used for promotional materials or secure data transport. What is this bluish-greenish material found scattered on the ground? It looks granular and synthetic, almost like strange gravel. Does anyone know what it is? It is rat poison, specifically rodenticide bait pellets. The distinct teal or blue-green color is a safety dye mandated by government regulations to prevent humans from mistaking the poison for food. These pellets often use anticoagulants like brodifacoum, which prevents blood clotting in pests. If you have pets or children, you need to clean this up immediately as it is highly toxic. I was investigating a leak under my Beko washing machine when I noticed this strange tube hanging underneath. It was dry to the touch, so I am not sure if it is the source of the water. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is the emergency drain hose. Manufacturers install these on the pump filter housing to allow users to drain standing water from the drum manually. This is essential before opening the filter cap for maintenance or if the machine fails to drain automatically. Since the hose was dry, your leak is likely coming from a cracked seal or a loose clamp elsewhere on the machine. What is this specific electronic component? It looks like it has a copper coil and a small metal cylinder attached to a circuit board. Is it an inductor, a capacitor, or perhaps an electromagnet? Does anyone know what it is? This object is the internal mechanism of a quartz clock module. The small metal cylinder is a quartz crystal oscillator which vibrates at a precise frequency of 32,968 Hz when electricity passes through it. The copper coil is part of the lavette-type stepping motor. It receives electrical pulses derived from the crystal's vibration to turn the gears and move the clock hands exactly 1 second at a time. I keep finding these small clear spheres around my room, mostly on my bed. They come in slightly different sizes and look like hard glass or plastic. Does anyone know what it is? It is a silica gel bead. These are a porous form of silicon dioxide made synthetically from sodium silicate. You likely had a desiccant packet burst inside a pocket, a shoebox, or a new bag near your bed. They are used to absorb moisture and keep products dry during shipping. While often labeled "do not eat," they are generally chemically inert but constitute a choking hazard. I was cleaning out my robot Roomba and found these weird things stuck inside the brushes. They are tiny metallic rings covered with thin plastic paper, about the same size as contact lenses. I have no idea where they came from. Does anyone know what it is? It's the voice coil and diaphragm from a pair of headphones. Your Roomba likely ran over a headset and tore the speaker driver apart. In a dynamic speaker, the copper voice coil sits inside a permanent magnet. When an electrical audio signal passes through the coil, it creates a magnetic field that interacts with the permanent magnet, causing the attached plastic cone to vibrate and produce sound waves. I found this small oval object inside a sealed bag of rye grain. It is brown with white specks, feels solid, but is quite lightweight. I joked that a tiny dragon might hatch from it if I heat it up, but I really need to know if it is safe. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a seed from a lupine plant. Specifically, this speckled appearance is characteristic of the Lupinus genus, often found in wildflower mixes. It likely contaminated the rye harvest in the field before packaging. While lupine beans are eaten in the Mediterranean and Andes as a snack called tramous or tarwi, they must be properly soaked in brine to remove toxic alkaloids before consumption. What is this strange blue cube encircled by large metal rings? It looks like some sort of futuristic architecture or art installation, but it seems to have a ladder leading up to a catwalk nearby. Does anyone know what it is? This object is a technology control enclosure for highway signage, specifically for the APRR network in France. The blue box houses power and networking equipment for electronic tolling or variable message signs. The translucent roof acts as a sunroof to provide natural light for technicians working inside. The large metal rings are primarily a design element to protect the enclosure and integrate it visually with the surrounding infrastructure. Which of these items surprised you the most? Or maybe you have one of them in your own garage? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed learning something new today, please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching.